loves, what's up? Welcome to my channel, Inspirations by Lati. Welcome back, you guys. So we're gonna just jump right into this real quick. Today's video is gonna be about the pros and cons for becoming a medical assistant. So for any of you that are out there that are interested in pursuing a career in medical assisting, I'm gonna talk to you about the profession a little bit and the good and the bad things about being in this profession. In any profession you're in, no matter what you do, there's going to be pros and cons, but at least it gives you a little more knowledge as to what you're getting yourself into before you just jump into something. So I'm just going to go over really quick what those pros and cons are. So becoming a medical assistant, first, I guess I'll go over the pros first, okay? So one pro is gonna be the schooling is not that long. You can be a certified medical assistant in as little as 10 and a half months. Can do a 2-year college program where you get a associate's degree in medical assisting, but again, that's 2 years, but it does give you a degree over a certification, because if you do the accelerated program and do the 10-month or 10 and a half month program, that's just going to give you a certification. You're going to be certified or registered or however, opposed to having a actual degree. Another thing is you are helping people. You do have a very important, vital role in healthcare as a medical assistant. We play a big part, to be quite honest. The doctors depend on us a lot and depend on our knowledge and our experience quite a bit as a medical assistant. So you do have a really important role in being part of the healthcare team. So you're knowledgeable in the medical field. That's another good thing. You learn a lot about healthcare, about the body, about conditions, about illnesses, about medications and prescriptions and what medications are used for. Like, you're going to be knowledgeable across the board on all that type of stuff, how to run certain tests, what certain tests mean, what labs results mean. You're gonna have experience and be knowledgeable in that aspect. There's a lot of opportunity to grow in the medical field. Start out being a medical assistant, and then go on to be like a team lead or a supervisor. In my case, I was a supervisor in the office that I was at for 13 years. I ended up being promoted to supervisor. You can also be an office manager. So as far as being an office manager in a medical office, you don't have to have any type of degree to be an office manager, but your experience and your knowledge, set that tone for you. So and that will qualify you to be an office manager. Some hospitals do like their managers to have some type of degree in medical administration or something like that. Not all hospitals require you to have a degree. If you have a medical assistant certificate and you have the experience and the knowledge to back up your schooling and what you're knowledgeable on, you can definitely be an office manager. Right now I work at a hospital as a medical assistant part-time, and I do have the opportunity to progress to being an office manager in that hospital setting. It could also be it could lead you into being an instructor, whether it's a CPR instructor or a medical assistant instructor. That's what I went on to do. Actually, I was in the field for like 11 years, and then I ended up getting a part-time position as a medical instructor at a medical assisting school. And then I went on to take a course to become a CPR instructor as well. It could be a forever career. Like for myself, I've advanced and did other things with my medical assisting certificate. Or you could just, you don't have to advance and do other things. You could be a medical assistant and make a decent amount of money. Or you can use it as a stepping stone to advance your medical career. You can start out as a medical assistant and then become maybe a nurse or become a go to nursing school, a nurse practitioner. There's so many other healthcare careers that you can aspire to do besides medical assisting. You could start there and just use it as a stepping stone. I know a lot of people that has done that at the job that I was working at previously, at the family practice office that I was at. We would hire pre-med students. So we would hire pre-med, pre-PA, and pre-nursing students. So basically what they would have done is gone to college, to a 4-year college, and obtained some type of degree in like biology or kinesiology, or I mean, there's so many different degrees that they would obtain, and that would just be their stepping stone to getting into medical school. So then they would after earning their 4-year degree at a university or a big college, then they would come and work for us. They would take a gap year before they start medical school and come work for us as a medical assistant. We would obviously have to train them, but obviously, these are smart, intelligent people, because, if they've gotten to nursing school or if they've gotten to medical school and they're just taking a gap year before they start school, then that they're smart, knowledgeable people, and that they, with a little bit of training, is going to be able to fulfill the role as a medical assistant. So what a lot of the students would do is work for us for a year or two, and then go on to med school. There's so many medical students that I have trained to be a medical assistant, and then they go on, and it's good to see them advance and different things like that in the medical field, and to be able to kind of be a part of their journey. So again, starting as a medical assistant, obviously they wouldn't have taken the medical assistant program because they went to a 4-year college, studying some type of medical background, having some type of knowledge in the medical background as a medical profession. Again, you can use it as a stepping stone. I know a lot of people that have done that. There are opportunities. You can work in a lot of different offices, a lot of different healthcare settings. There's just a lot of opportunity for that. You could be a phlebotomist, because when you take the medical assisting actual program, and you get certified, you can, we also teach phlebotomy as a part of of your skill set. And then, like I said, you could go on to do phlebotomy and do blood draws if you wanted to, or anything else that would be in your scope of practice as far as being a medical assistant. So you learn a wide variety of skills. Again, like I said, you learn how to work an EKG, you learn how to do phlebotomy, you learn how to do injections, you learn how to triage phone calls, you learn how to do insurance, medical billing, and coding, just the basics though. We don't go in depth. If you want to go in depth, that would be a different course you would have to take, medical billing and coding, to get certified in that. But we do teach you the basics of that. We teach you about medications and different prescriptions, dosage calculations. So say, for example, if the doctor asks for a specific dose, but you go to your medicine closet and the dose that you have on hand is different from what the doctor asked for, we teach you how to calculate the dose to get what the doctor has ordered. All your vitals, you're going to know all that. How to do nebulizers and breathing treatments, and how to assist in like I said, you learn a wide variety of skills. Like the skills that you obtain becoming a medical assistant is extensive. Like you learn really a lot. And I might end up doing a video on all the skills that you will learn or can learn as a medical assistant. Another thing is, usually you don't work weekends. Usually you don't work holidays. You can, but it's rare. Usually, office hours are Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 or something like that. You can make a decent amount of money if you work for a larger organization or like a large hospital. You might make a decent amount of money, and I'll get into what medical assistants make also. So I do have the pay on the pros list, and I have it on the cons list, and I'll explain that a little more in detail in a second. If you work for a specialist, you might make more money as opposed to working for a family doctor. When I say specialist, I mean cardiologist, gastroenterologist, endocrinologist, rheumatologist, podiatrist. You know, those are just some examples of specialists that you can work for. And you would make more working for those types of doctors. Any state you move to, you're going to be able to find a job as a medical assistant. The field is growing. It's a growing career. Now I'm going to go to the cons list. And schooling can be a little expensive. Not expensive, but I feel like for the pay that we get, it's a little expensive. You know, it could be anywhere from, you know, $16,000 to $20,000 to go. If you get grants and loans, you can chop that down and minimize that expense by quite a bit if you qualify for certain grants and loans. I went to medical assisting school, 16, 17 years ago, and for my schooling was under $10,000, and with all my grants and loans, I only end up paying $2,000 back. But now the cost has it has gone up quite a bit. It can be, like I said, it has doubled, anywhere from $16,000 to $20,000 to go to medical assisting school. And if you get grants and loans, you can get away with paying maybe half of that back. But you just have to do your homework and see what you're eligible for as far as grants go. Loans are money that you have to pay back. Grants, money you don't have to pay back. And like I said, one of the other cons, the starting pay is not the best. Starting pay for a medical assistant is anywhere from $13 to $15 an hour. A lot of people complain about that because we do a lot of work. We are utilized to the maximum in these offices. We do a lot of the work that nurses do. A video doing medical assisting versus nursing and what the differences are. Obviously, like I said, the pay, is not the best starting off because, when you think about it, you could be a CNA for $13, $14 an hour, but it's a totally different type of work. You are doing strenuous work. You're cleaning, giving baths. You're not doing, you don't have the same skill set as a medical assistant. I will say that. But if you stick with the same office and I know a lot of people that start out being medical assistants, they start at one office and they're there for a year and leave and go to another office. And then they do the same thing. They're there at that office for 2 or 3 years and they leave and go to another office. When you do that, you're kind of restarting your pay rate all over again. You're starting fresh with a brand new office. You're going to start at their base salary that they hire in people at, where if you like the office that I was at for 13 years, obviously I started on the lower end, but by me being there for so long, I got good raises. My raises were good, and by the time I left there, I was making a decent, nice amount of money, more than what a CNA would make, because I've heard a lot of people say, well, why go to MA school when you could be a CNA and make the same amount of money? Well, the work that you're doing is totally different, and not only that, if you stick around and stay with the same office and not hop from job to job, then you're going to be able to advance, and you're going to get raises. So, with that being said, that's how I, ended up becoming a supervisor and different things like that. And even before I got promoted to supervisor, I was making a good amount of money just from being in that office for so many years. I was one of the most knowledgeable, experienced medical assistants in that office because I had been there so long. So they depended on me quite a bit. for information for the patients and training new employees and just different things like that. So my role, I had a much larger role, you know, just from being so knowledgeable and being in the office for so long. Anyways, so like I said, because starting pay is not that great. $13 to $15 is usually the average starting pay. You are a little bit restricted with being a medical assistant, and I say that because, you know, I can't, you know, I work for one of the bigger hospitals, but I work for one of their offices. I don't work right directly in the hospital. A lot of hospitals have limited use for medical assistants working directly in the hospital. Now, if you do go the phlebotomy route and decide to, take that route as being a medical assistant, then you are going to be utilized, you know, in a hospital a lot more. So, and another reason why I say you're a little restricted is because, for example, the office that I was at for 13 years, they decided to add another role in the office called a care manager facilitator. And what that is you kind of see the doctor's patients. You go over, you know, trying to help them. Like, for example, your diabetic patients. If you're trying to keep them healthy, you go over a treatment plan with them. You go over a few things with them and try to keep them from their condition from getting worse. You try to keep their condition well managed, their diabetes well managed. And I was looked at for that position, and I ended up not getting that position in the office that I was at because they needed a nurse to do a part of the job responsibilities for part of that position. I would have been able, and they considered having me do the position and just hiring an RN, just like 2 half days a week to come into the office to do the specific portion that the RN can do, but they ended up deciding not to do that and just hiring an RN overall to do that position overall, rather than splitting it up between myself and another person. You know, so that I was a little bit, you know, disappointed in that because I couldn't get that role because I didn't have the title RN behind my name. Like I said, I was qualified to do everything that role entailed except for the diabetic management part. So that is what hindered me from getting that position. And like I said, they were willing to kind of split it up at first, but then they just decided that for the office, and it made sense, you know, office wise and financially for them, it made more sense to just give the role to one person and have one person responsible for it. So that's what they ended up, you know, doing. But anyways, so another thing that is a con to being a medical assistant, so we go to school for 10.5 months. We learn anatomy and physiology. We learn the basics of math and dosage calculations. We learn all these skills and different things, but we can't transfer credits. So if you wanted to start out being a medical assistant and then transfer in advance to being an LPN or an RN, you could not do that. You could not transfer your credits. If there are schools out there, there are far few and in between. It's very rare that you're going to find a school that is going to transfer your credits but you would think since nursing and medical assisting, the fields are so similar and a lot of the responsibilities are the same, you would think that you would be able to transfer credits instead of them making you, because for example, nursing animes take anatomy and physiology. Nursing animes takes the math portion of it, you know, the dosage calculations and things like that. So you would think you would be able to just transfer instead of them making you go through that schooling all over again, but that's not how it works. So if you were a medical assistant, like for example, earlier in the video, I was saying that we would hire pre-nursing or pre-med students. So, you know, from doctor to MA, that makes sense not to transfer credits because it's a way different understanding of medicine. Like, it's such a deeper understanding to be a doctor, you know, and the education level is just so much different. So I really understand why you couldn't transfer, you know, MA to med school or whatever. Like, that makes sense. But from LPN to MA to LPN, or MA to RN, like, it seems like they would give you credit for already having that knowledge and going to school. Even if you went to the same college, they wouldn't transfer the credits. So, I mean, which is very frustrating. So, like, for example, if I went to my community college and did the MA program and then wanted to get into the nursing program, they won't transfer. So I think, you know, I really think that's frustrating. That's what, you know, discouraged me from advancing and continuing my career into nursing, which I did plan on doing when I was, you know, younger. And, but since they wouldn't allow, like, I just, you know, school is okay, but I'm like, I don't want to be in school forever. So, like, that just wasn't an option. Well, it was an option, but I just decided not to go that route because I did not want to have to start literally all over again with the schooling. Like, I totally, probably, most likely 9 times out of 10 would have continued on into nursing if I were able to transfer my credits. So just, you know, keep that in mind. You know, I don't want to, you know, discourage anybody. You know what type of person you are. You know how much schooling you want to be in or how long you want to be in school. So, I mean, it just depends on the individual. So just keep that in mind. And, that's it for this video pretty much. So, stay tuned, for the next video. It's going to be, MA versus nursing, and I'm going to be explaining the differences as far as what nurses can do and what MAs can't do, the things that their skills would be similar and the same, what aspect they would be the same in, and just kind of, you know, go from there. And I'm also gonna I'm gonna add CNA in there too, and then so yeah, make sure you guys stay tuned for the next video. Pretty much it's gonna be a comparison between nurses and MAs, and then I'm gonna do a comparison between medical assistants and CNAs also. And I'm also going to do a pay rate comparison, a salary comparison between all of them, the average salary between all of them. So just make sure you guys stay tuned for more information on this subject. Make sure you guys go check out my previous videos, please, on becoming a medical assistant. And then I just have a lot of other videos as well that you guys can check out. And just make sure you rate, comment, and subscribe. Continue to support your girl. Bye, loves. Deuces.